Camping can be fun, but it can also be the most sinister experience of your life.
This all went down a couple of months ago, so please forgive me if the details are a little hazy. I've altered the names of everyone involved for their privacy. My friends and I were part of the Wilderness Rangers program here in the States. As you'd expect, we were dedicated campers and hikers. We had this one campsite our troop would go to frequently, since it was only an hour's drive and hosted events year-round. Every winter, this camp holds a proficiency badge event over a long holiday weekend in February, where rangers could go to earn their skill certifications. It was a 4-day, 3-night trip. The camp is structured and scheduled kind of like a school day. There were 2 badge sessions each day, and you could take a different class for each session. You would choose your badges, and even if you tried to line up your classes with your friends, there was no guarantee. Though I was, and still am, friends with nearly all the more senior rangers in my troop, I had 2 who were definitely my closest. Their names are Alex and Leo. They were the ones I'd hang out with most before, between, and after classes. This camp is huge. I'd say over 1,000 acres. Most of the property was wilderness, open for hunters during the off-season as a means to make money, I guess. The main camp makes up a fairly small portion of the property. There was a hiking trail that looped around the edge of the property, over 20 kilometers long, and about 3 kilometers of it ran straight along the nearby river. Alex, Leo, and I knew the ins and outs of the camp and its trail. We loved to hike, especially in the dead of night. The first few days of camp were pretty uneventful. It wasn't until the 3rd and final night that we ran into any trouble. We had a big night hike planned. We'd start by heading to an abandoned paintball field the camp hadn't used for years, and then follow the trail until we reached the waterfront. It was about a 10-kilometer hike this way, which we figured would take us about 2 hours. Honestly, we should have realized how dumb of an idea this was when nobody else wanted to go besides us. But at the time, we teased anyone who said no for being too scared. We were dead set on this hike. By 10 p.m., our bags were packed with flashlights, water, snacks, whistles, and the rest of the essentials in case we got lost. Both my and Alex's phones were fully charged, thanks to some outlets in the camp dining hall, and we had a satellite map with GPS, so if worse came to worst, we'd at least know what direction to hike to get back to camp. We snuck off around 10:30, after our leaders came by and checked in with us before they headed to bed. We walked to Site 8, which had an entrance to the trail through some brush at the back of the site. As I said earlier, this trail runs along a border of the camp. The ranger camp bordered a Christian camp, but this Christian camp never had anyone staying there during the winter. So, for the first few kilometers of the hike, we were walking right along the property line between the Christian camp and our camp. After a bit of walking, we came to the paintball field. It was made from a bunch of wood pallets, inflatable obstacles that had started to deflate over time, and dirty pieces of what looked like a deconstructed playground slide. There were paint stains all over the obstacles. We played around, climbing all over the wooden forts and kicking some of the inflatables. That's when we noticed a light bobbing up and down over in the Christian camp. "Hey fellas," I said. "You seeing this?" They turned their heads to see where I was looking. The light wasn't coming towards us, but it was still odd. Why was someone over there so late at night? I didn't think anyone lived there, and it was nearing 11 o'clock at this point. "We need to stay silent," Alex whispered. "Let's get out of here." We crept out of the paintball field and continued down the path. That light kept bobbing towards what looked like a shed to us, but it was difficult to tell through the trees. After maybe 10 minutes, we started to talk again. The nervous tension came out in laughter as we told jokes about the situation and how stupid we were to think that was anything concerning. We agreed it was probably just the owner of the property working. Maybe he was a night owl or something. After a few more minutes, we were maybe 2 or 3 kilometers deep on the trail. We couldn't make out the Christian camp from here, and Alex and Leo relaxed and let their guard down fully. But as we continued, I just couldn't shake a gut feeling that something was wrong. "Guys, what was that guy in the camp doing, you think?" I asked. "Bro, why are you so worried about him?" Leo said. "I don't know. I just got a bad feeling, I guess." Eventually, the trail came to a junction. It was kind of oddly shaped. The path circled around an overgrown pile of junk with weeds and grass taller than us. On the left, the trail continued, but on the right, there was a service road for the Christian camp. I was dead set on just continuing down the path, but Alex and Leo wanted to go down and explore the Christian camp. That just felt like a bad idea to me, but I wasn't about to hike that trail alone, so I followed. Honestly, it was rather uneventful at first. The service road was long, straight, and didn't have anything interesting to explore. That was, until we saw a beam of light illuminate the road, maybe 100 meters ahead of us from the right side. Leo began to run off, but I grabbed him. His heavy footsteps would alert whoever was there. I told them to just shut up, get low, and walk back to the trail. We run if they say something, so we turned. But I glanced back. The light was coming from a headlamp, which made it a pain to make out any features of the person wearing it, but I could see they were holding something, a large bag, and it was being dragged on the ground behind them. Alex saw it too. "Man, what the hell is he carrying?" he said. "I don't know. Probably some trash to dump in the junkyard by the trail," I said. We kept crouching forward, but he was gaining on us. "Guys, we gotta pick up the pace, he's catching up," I whispered. We tried our best to go faster, but his bobbing headlamp kept getting closer and closer to us until we heard the man yell, "Hello!" His voice was deep. Leo couldn't take it anymore. He bolted, and Alex followed almost immediately. The man screamed, "Hey! What the hell are you doing?" I took off, catching up. We were sprinting, but that man was keeping up, even with that big bag, which was now slung over his shoulder. Leo got to the intersection first. He stood there, confused where to go, and just leaped into the weeds and junk pile, trying to hide. "Are you stupid?" I asked, but I followed him anyway. If we separated, one of us could get in huge trouble, or worse, that man could hurt us. If we were together, we stood a chance. Alex joined us in the junkyard. I think we'd put some good distance between us and the man, because when he came into the junction, he didn't look for us in that trash pile. Instead, he circled it, and what I saw in his hand was terrifying. He held out a pistol with his outstretched right arm, and the bag, which we could now see was a camo duffel bag, was slung over his left shoulder. We held our breath. I could make out bits of his face. He was a white, older man. I couldn't see his hair. He was wearing a black beanie. The man yelled out a threat to us, saying we better get the hell out of here. He put his gun in the air and fired a shot. Thank goodness Leo had covered his mouth, as he let out a little squeal when the shot rang out. The man didn't hear anything. He walked away, back towards the service road, but stopped. There was a pile of tools near the end of the road. The man holstered his pistol and picked up a shovel. The three of us shared a concerned look, but we couldn't look away for long. The man wandered into the woods, dropped the bag, and began to dig. "Holy shit," I whispered. "What the hell is he doing?" "Let's get out of here," Alex said, but he didn't move. Neither did we. We were enthralled in watching this man. He dug for a little bit longer, and then dropped the shovel, grabbed the bag, and unzipped it. He began to carefully grab and drop something in the hole, though we couldn't make out what it was. After maybe 3 minutes, he grabbed the shovel and began to pour dirt back into the hole. We just watched, shivering in the cold. After a while, the man was satisfied. He kicked some leaves back over the dirt and started toward the road. He threw the shovel back onto the pile and walked down the service road. We waited until we saw his light turn off the road, until we even thought to move. We decided to finish our hike. We were around halfway through anyway. The next morning, we did some research. There were no nearby strange missing persons cases, nor murders. And he put his hands on whatever was in that bag, so we assumed it wasn't a body. But was it? I can't stop thinking about it. Was it drugs? Money? Something worse? I have no clue. We haven't seen any updates, and we didn't tell anyone about what we saw because we'd be in a ridiculous amount of trouble for sneaking out and trespassing on the Christian camp's property. Looking back, one of the most concerning things to me was the fact that the man didn't have any kind of safety turned on his gun. He didn't have to load, cock, or do anything to the gun before he fired, which wouldn't be the safe way to carry a firearm. That man was ready to shoot whoever he saw if he needed to. And I think if he'd gotten his hands on one of us, he would have killed us. Needless to say, Alex, Leo, and I haven't been on a night hike since.